Good day everyone. I am Lem Entienza from Section 4H Diet Mechanical Engineering Department. Today I am going to discuss Chapter 4 of Noli Tangere, which entitled Heretic and Filibuster. This novel is one of the connected novels that were written by the Philippine national hero Jose Protasio Mercado Rizal y Alonzo Realonda. He wrote the novel to make Filipinos see the abuse of power priests showed during the Spanish colonization period. The novel has 64 chapters. We are going to tackle the fourth chapter. Chapter 4 is entitled Heretic and Filibuster. The characters of this chapter are: first, Father Damaso, a Spanish friar living in the Philippines. Father Damaso is an arrogant and pedantic priest who, despite having lived amongst Filipinos and hearing their confessions for over 20 years, is barely able to speak or understand Tagalog, the country's native language. A shameless loudmouth, he is unafraid of slandering non-religious citizens who he thinks undermine his power. Ibarra learns that this is exactly what happened. Second, Don Rafael Ibarra. Ibarra's father, who has died before the novel's opening pages. Ibarra learns from a sympathetic friend of his father, Lieutenant Guevara, that Don Rafael perished in prison after Father Damaso accused him of heresy and subversion. Third, Senor Guevara, an elder lieutenant of the civil guard who deeply respects both Ibarra and the late Don Rafael. Guevara tells Ibarra that he appreciates his father's conviction and moral compass, which against the church and Father Damaso's oppressive dominance. He is also the one to inform Ibarra about what exactly happened between Don Rafael and Father Damaso. Fourth, the Captain General, an unnamed representative of Spain and the highest government official in the Philippines. Civil Guard members, townspeople, and friars alike deeply respect him and defer to his judgment, each set of people valuing for his favor. Fortunately for Ibarra, the Captain General is not an enthusiastic supporter of the church and its overinflated power, believing that the friars have been afforded too much power in Filipino society. Fifth, Juan Crisostomo Ibarra y Magsalin, or Ibarra, a wealthy young man of mixed Spanish and Filipino ancestry who has recently returned to the Philippines from Europe after spending 7 years studying abroad. Ibarra is cultured and well respected, though the friars in his own hometown of San Diego are so precious of him. This is because his father Don Rafael was recently imprisoned and labeled a subversive and heretic, a sentence that eventually led to his death in jail. Ibarra learns of this on his first night back in the Philippines. As a summary, as Ibarra walks home that night, the lieutenant catches up to him. His name is Senor Guevara, and he explains the circumstances of Don Rafael's death. Because Ibarra's father was the richest man in the province, he had many enemies. This was exacerbated by the fact that he refused to go to confession, which Father Damaso greatly resented. As a result, the angry friar made veiled allusions to Don Rafael in his sermons. Still, Don Rafael didn't relent, for he believed in following his own moral compass rather than pretending he believed the power of confession simply to appease church officials. Lieutenant Guevara explains around the time Don Rafael refused to go to confession, there was a tax collector employed by the government who was stupid. This tax collector had been an artilleryman before being fired because of his idiocy. Not knowing what to do with the man, the government had him go door to door collecting taxes. It soon became evident to the townspeople that this man, a Spaniard, could not read, and they started making fun of him. Once several schoolboys mocked him for his literacy, and he chased them in the street until finally catching one severely beating him. Don Rafael happened to be passing by. The lieutenant explains, and he intervened by pushing the tax collector away from the boy. Unfortunately, the push was a little too hard, and the collector fell backward and dashed his head open on a rock. Continuing his story, Guevara explains that Don Rafael rushed the collector to the courthouse, but it was too late. The man died shortly thereafter. And Ibarra's father was thrown into a jail cell. At this point, his enemies and detractors came out of the woodwork to slander his name, accusing him of heresy and subversion. These, the lieutenant says, are serious accusations. To be a heretic anywhere is a great disgrace, especially at that time. When the mayor made a great show of his religious devotion, he says, Guevara assures Ibarra that he did everything in his power to save Don Rafael, even contacting the captain general and hiring a lawyer, but unfortunately, the government was too corrupt to afford any assistance, and by that time, Guevara successfully cleared Don Rafael's name. He died in his cell. As an analysis of Heretic and Filibuster, this scene is the first time in Noli Tangere that the tensions between the church and non-religious Filipinos is exactly acknowledged. Given Don Rafael's faith is that refusing religion can be a fatal decision in this community. Not only can it lead to death, it also seems to lead to social isolation. Considering Father Damaso made veiled allusions to Don Rafael, thereby spreading words of the man's transition throughout the church-going society. Senor Guevara's stories about the tax collectors illustrate the privileges Spaniards enjoyed in the Philippines. Even though this tax collector was an imbecile, the government still made sure had a job. This suggests even the lowest of Spaniards benefits from his or her national affiliation, regardless of whether or not he or she deserves the values, luxuries, and government provides. Although Rizal has clearly developed a sense of enmity between the government and the church, here he complicates the dynamics by showing the government officials like the mayor actually answer to the church. A heretic is somebody who believes something that against Christian doctrine. That the mayor, who is not even the part of the church, views this as serious infraction worthy of punishment denotes just how many influence the friars have over the local bodies, government, in the Philippines. To be sure, anybody, especially a Filipino who is not devotedly religious, finds himself isolated by both the church and the states. That's all. Thank you.